So it's no secret that the game industry is a hot mess right now. It seems like every day we're hearing more stories about people getting laid off. I've been laid off twice over the last 2 or 3 years. So I just wanted to kind of give the perspective from somebody. I'm married. I have a couple kids. I have a mortgage. I've been doing this for almost 15 years, and I wanted to kind of share my thoughts of where I see a possibility of the future going in game development. All right, so I just wanted to zoom out and take a high level look at the state of the industry and why hiring and just the general volatility seems so crazy right now, and some of the reasons that I think why things feel so strange. Disclaimer: I'm not a CEO. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what the future holds. This is just my perspective as an artist on how I see things moving and what I see the pain points being right now. So the biggest probably and the most obvious is AI is changing the way that media is being made. And I think that there are two camps on this. You have kind of the super enthusiasts who are way over here who think it's the most exciting thing in the world, who think that we're never going to have to work again because robots are going to do everything. And then you have the doomers who think that the world is going to be destroyed, that everything is terrible, and that AI is going to take over the world in a bad way. And I think that both of those are probably unrealistic. I don't think that there's a silver bullet that's going to make everything easy all of a sudden. It's still going to take a lot of work to make games, to make movies, to write books. It's still going to be hard work. People, human beings, are drawn to authenticity and real stories told by real people. And that's not going to change because suddenly AI can generate images or generate text. People are still going to be drawn to those same human things. And those things are going to need to come from people. So, for the disruption being caused by AI, it is a pain point that we're feeling right now as companies like EA is saying we're shifting our focus to using AI as an integral part of our pipeline. That is causing a pain point right now as it's being experimented with, as developers have to actually deal with the consequences of it. However, I am skeptical of how the long term usage of that being so high. It is probably going to change game development to some degree. I don't think it's going to take all of our jobs. I think right now things are being strained because big companies are trying to save as much money as possible, and they're so excited about AI and the implications of it that they're trying to force it into places where it doesn't belong. So I think that once this is the AI frenzy, the fanaticism has been worked out, it's going to take a little while, but I do think that we will return to a more normal development world and pipeline where people aren't going to be in constant fear of losing their jobs. Another piece to this puzzle is that all of the business investment that's happened traditionally for the last decade or longer it's all being sucked up and poured into AI, into data centers, into building the infrastructure for all this compute. There is just no way that this continues on forever like this. It's painful now for the creative industry, for the entertainment industry, but those dollars are eventually going to shift back to other industries outside of the AI craze that's happening right now. So the third kind of big catalyst that I see negatively impacting the game industry right now is as these big companies are shutting down internal teams, there's a greater and greater reliance moving toward these larger outsourced studios instead of plugging holes in their internal teams with individual freelancers. They are moving toward a model where they're taking whole game projects and saying, here, you do all of the art for this. And we just don't know how this is going to impact the industry in the long run. It doesn't seem like, to me, I'm not a game director or something, but it doesn't seem like the best process to make games. But in the pursuit of cost savings, it seems to be the strategy that a lot of these big like producer studios are making. So we're just going to have to see how this affects individual game devs in the long run, and if this is a permanent shift or if this is something that we revert back to a more internal structure in the future. I'm not sure. So that's a lot of doom and gloom, but I would like to kind of focus a little bit on some of the silver lining from all of the problems that we're facing right now. I do believe are going to rebound in the opposite direction in a year or a couple of years. If we stop making as many games, there's going to be more of an opening in the market. People are still going to want to play games. We're still going to need devs to make those games. So there will be increased demand for these kinds of roles in the future. I hear a lot of people stuck on the pain point of juniors really struggling to find positions and how that will result in a scarcity of seniors as new people are not building up levels of experience. But I think if you look at that, if you recognize that as a problem, which I think it is, that gives juniors an opportunity now to start trying to build their experience, to be working on any game projects that they can, to be building their own things, to be working with senior artists to learn the processes that we use to build games, so that when those doors do open up in the future, they are ready and available to take them. All right, so that's kind of the big picture state of the industry. Now I want to zoom in on some of the philosophies that have helped shape my career and helped me to continue doing this for the last 15 years. One of the big issues that I see right off of the bat with a lot of people looking at the creative industry, at looking at becoming an artist, is they resign themselves to this idea that you're going to be a starving artist, that you are going to have low pay, that you're going to get jerked around by giant corporations. And I just think that that's garbage. With a little bit of planning and forethought, there are ways to drastically increase your standard of living. Game dev may not be the most lucrative career path in the world, but you can 100% make a reasonable living, maybe even a great living. We do need to take responsibility for our own careers. We may have great relationships with our employers. We may love working for them. But at the end of the day, we are providing them with a service for a paycheck. And it's our responsibility to have a backup plan and to have a direction for our own personal growth. There's this concept in statistics called gambler's ruin. And to kind of boil a complicated mathematical formula down to something simpler, the idea is if you're playing a game with a chance of going to zero, with a chance of losing everything, even if it's a low chance, eventually you're going to hit red. Eventually you're going to go to zero. If you're playing Russian roulette, eventually you're going to get the bullet. So there's an investor named Manish Pabrai he has this saying that I really like, which is, heads I win, tails I don't lose much. And that is to say, we want to reduce our risk to the point where we are able to survive if we fail, because we will fail eventually. Things will not always work out in our favor. So we need to be prepared for things to go badly. In working as a freelancer, in working in the indie game space, I focus a lot of effort and energy on playing for survival. If you want to succeed in the long term in this career, you need to treat it like a business. You need to charge enough that you're able to save for an emergency fund. You need to charge enough that you can save for retirement. It's very difficult to do this carrying debt. It's making big choices where you move across the country without a backup plan for a job that may not work out. That's just a recipe for disaster. Mortgaging your house to start a studio, to hire 10 people to try to make your dream indie game to an MMO or something. Like, you're just asking to get wiped out and get burnt out and never want to work in this industry again. If you are patient and take small steps one after another, you can have so much fun. Even in the downs, even in the lows, there are exciting things that you're able to do and opportunities that can come along. Something that I love about the game industry is that there's no rules saying what you can and can't do. Anybody can go start a game studio. Anybody can start their own video game project. Anybody could, in theory, go and work for Riot or Blizzard or any of these prestigious game companies that have these reputations that people aspire to work for. The tricky part is learning how to do those things. The path exists. You can get there. You can do those things. Nobody is stopping you. The hard part is figuring out how, figuring out what specific steps do I need to take to get me from here to wherever it is that I want to be. And that's kind of what I'm going to go into next. All right, I had to step away for a minute, so I've lost my window light, but my plan going forward from here is to, purely from a tactical standpoint, build a floor. I want to make sure that I'm bringing in enough income that I don't have to worry about paying bills. That's the first priority, and I'm going to do that through whatever means I can, most likely through the route of the experience that I have for the last 15 years of doing some kind of digital art. That could be full-time. Maybe I find a full-time role right off the bat. Maybe I'm doing some part-time indie work, product modeling, medical rendering, UI, graphic design, anything like that. That's where I plan on focusing my attention and effort in finding work. Beyond that, I want to do as much as I can to survive until I can be in the right place at the right time when the right opportunity comes along. You can't just flip a switch and be lucky, but you can increase the surface area for luck to happen. Some of the ways that you can do that is obviously through social media, posting your work. Let people know that you exist. This is super important, and I feel like a lot of artists overlook the value of posting their content online. You're not going to be annoying. There is a marketing concept called the rule of 7, and it's a generalization, but the idea is that a person needs to see something about 7 times before it like sticks in their head and they remember it. So you need to be posting often enough that if you want to be memorable to people, if you want people to know, if you want to build a reputation as a person who makes cool stuff, does cool art, you need to be doing it often enough that people actually see you more than once. Because the algorithm doesn't show everybody everything that you post. They only see part of it. And then we're not consistent when we post. There's all kinds of factors. Everybody doesn't get on every day. So being consistent, showing your work, getting feedback from people is crucial to building a network and getting eyeballs on your work. Another tactical thing that artists like myself, who are introverts, do not like to do is to reach out and to try to talk to people. Message old clients, see if they need follow-up work. Do cold calling, email, reach out to anybody that you know and see if people need work. It's important to reframe the messages that your head is telling you, saying I'm annoying them, I don't like asking for stuff. Reframe it as you are reaching out to them to help them solve a problem. You are taking a problem off of their plate and making it go away so that they can focus on the things that they want to and need to be doing. They don't want to worry about the art or the design for their project. They don't want to have to try to solve those problems. Their goal is to find somebody like you to do it. So help them with that. I think that can help, that mentality can help take a lot of the pressure off of trying to reach out to somebody that maybe you don't have a previous relationship with already. So beyond building that floor and kind of showing proof of existence to people and making sure that I'm on people's radar, beyond that, in priority 2, I want to prepare for the situation where, and this is not an if, but when the next layoffs happen, when the next industry hiccup happens, when things take another dip, how am I going to be prepared? And to do that, my goal is to try to build some kind of secondary income, if that's through YouTube, if it's through coming up with digital products, if it's through creating high quality art tutorials. I plan to pivot a little bit away from spending time creating brand new portfolio pieces and more toward creating pieces that I can use for a YouTube video or that I could use as a tutorial as well. So I want to try to spend my time on things that have multifaceted uses to them so that I can get more bang for my buck, more bang for the time that I'm spending on it, because time is super, super critical and we are so limited with the amount of time that we have to work on any of this stuff. So for priority 3, this definitely comes below 1 and 2. This has to be in the final place. But for me, I'm really the more time I spend in the game industry, the more I realize I don't just like making art. I love game development as a whole. I love the process of making games. I love seeing people interact with games for the first time. I love the push and pull between getting real actual feedback and trying to make something that's fun. And there's something about that that's fascinating to me. And I want to spend more time working on actual games. So I think something else that I want to try to start dipping my toes into a little bit is working on an indie game. I don't really have any expectations or hopes that it would turn into something bigger, but there's always the possibility. In any of these options, my focus is primarily as an art creator, as an employee. But as I'm branching out into these other things, like I said earlier, I'm increasing that the surface area where luck could happen. YouTube could turn into something bigger than I expect. Digital products could take off. I could have a really good run with some tutorials. An indie game could take off. You never know. So I want to try more things, keep validating what's working, looking for feedback on whatever it is that I'm trying, and see if people are responding to it in a positive way. If it's just falling flat, then I need to change my plan and try something else. So this is kind of what I'm thinking of moving forward. These are the things that I'm planning on focusing on in kind of this order where I'm going to put my time and energy. My goal is to just try things and see what works, see what doesn't, continue creating, continue making cool art. I'd love to hear other perspectives. If there's something I missed on what's going on in the game industry right now, leave a comment below. Like and follow for more.